Hi, I'm Frank Jimenez with the BUILDERALL team. In this video, you will learn how to set up an AutoWebinar funnel inside Cheetah. So let's get started. Here we have the AutoWebinar funnel blueprint. Let's start with our traffic source. Your traffic source will enter your funnel through your webinar registration page. Here's a good place to highlight your subject matter of your webinar, who will be presenting during your webinar, and anything else you would like to highlight. Now your client will then register by entering their information into the registration page, at which time they will be redirected to the webinar confirmation page. You can have a video thanking them for registering. You can also provide additional details about what they can expect from your webinar. This page will also hold the timer that will count down to the webinar they signed up for. Once that counter expires, your site visitor will then be redirected to the live event. The biggest difference here is that your AutoWebinar broadcast page might be playing a pre-recorded presentation, but your site visitors are seeing this for the first time. It's important that on your broadcast page, you have a call to action. Once your webinar concludes, you can send them a replay page link offering them the same call to actions. Now down here, from the time that they register all the way through the time they even see your webinar replay page, you're going to have email sequences sent out that you can also set up in either MailingBoss or in the Webinar Builder inside BuilderAll. Now let's go take a look at these pages. Here we are in my AutoWebinar funnel website, and these are the pages that make up my AutoWebinar. So here I have my home page, which is my sign up page or my registration page. Here I have my webinar confirmation page, and then I've got my broadcast or webinar live page followed by my webinar replay page. So let's go inside the registration page. Now first I want to just show you that this registration page here is pretty much a template, and so are my webinar confirmation page, my replay page, and any other pages. So you can simply get this template by going to Add, selecting Panels, and then let's just scroll down to W, where everything related to webinar is right here. So if you click on, for example, webinar registration, you're going to see a template very similar to the one I have here, and all you have to do is go through and make the adjustments to your liking. Now there are a couple things to consider when hosting your webinar. Who's going to host it, right? What platform will you be hosting it on? It's rather easy to go into the Webinar Builder and go in and set this all up, and it will all sync together and work perfectly. Now here, for example, I've done that. I've gone into the actual app on your BuilderAll dashboard, and I've configured everything related to my webinar. What's super cool about upcoming webinars is that you can also set the replay timer so that it replays at certain intervals, which is great for an AutoWebinar. So here, if I right-click on this registration area, you're going to see that the registration area has been created with a simple iframe embedded code. So if I go over to the right here, here's my general settings. I went and I grabbed this actual embedded code or embedded URL and placed it right in here so that it shows up. So again, everything you have to do is inside the actual application. All right, so down here, if you're considering using a different application to host your webinar, now you're going to have to go in here and make sure that you set up your email marketing form correctly inside MailingBoss. So here, we just simply click on the set list. We pick a list that has already been pre-made inside MailingBoss. So for this example, we're going to select Webinar June event. Click Save. And then you have to just simply set your link. So when someone uses this link to register, you have to determine where you want to send them. So if their subscription is pending, where would you like to send them? So regardless, I am going to still send them to my webinar confirmation page. Subscription confirm, same thing. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select webinar confirmation page. No action for the unsubscribe. I'll go ahead and just leave that alone for now. Now, one of the key things that you have to consider is if you're going to have an indoctrination page. You're going to want to add an indoctrination page to your sequence of emails. So email sequences is very important to make sure that you're following up maybe a week before the webinar, a couple days before the webinar, a day before the webinar, an hour before the webinar, even 5 to 10 minutes before your webinar. And then finally, a follow-up page, right? So after the webinar, you're going to want to send them the replay link. So those are some of the things that you have to consider when setting up or attaching your mailing boss to your actual registration form, as well as going through the process and setting up your webinar. All right, let's go take a look at the webinar confirmation page. Okay, so here's my webinar confirmation page. Once they've registered, it's going to take them right here because that's how I have it set up. And here they can see a video from you, maybe thanking them for registering, and also sharing some really key features and benefits of what they can expect from the upcoming webinar. You want to make sure that they do not miss it. And here is a countdown to your webinar. So when registrants come in, right when this timer, once it reaches 0, it will redirect to the live event or to the broadcast page. Now here you can add different buttons. You could do different things really depending on what your goals are. Here we are on our webinar live page or our broadcast page. So here, this page is simply created by code that I grabbed from the webinar builder inside BUILDERALL. So if I right click again, the iframe comes up. All I have to do is go to General Settings, take the embed code that was created when I created the webinar inside the Webinar Builder app, insert it here, and then you have it all right in here. Here's a call to action button. But what's so unique about the actual webinar builder, if you're using the BUILDERALL tool, is that you can have call to actions pop up while your video is planned or your broadcast is happening. All right, so here we are in the webinar replay page. Now this is going to be the page that you create, that you share post-webinar, right? So after the live webinar happens, you're going to give your site registrants the opportunity to still catch the webinar replay. Even those that made the live, right? Maybe they want to go back and reference a couple of things, or might be on the fence about maybe the call to action that you had and want to consider it. They can actually go back in here, go through the replay, and then maybe reach out to you with any questions. And this is how you set up an AutoWebinar funnel inside Cheetah. So in this video, we took a close look at the AutoWebinar funnel blueprint. We also went into Cheetah and created those pages and went through the flow on how to set up your AutoWebinar with call to actions. We also touched on AutoWebinar replay page and making sure you properly set up your email sequences when using Mailing Boss. I hope you found the video helpful. Until next time, I'm Frankie Menes with the BUILDERALL team.